This was a bit of a surprise, Carlo Ancelotti going to Everton, but then you find out 11.5 million a year. You can understand why he accepted the job. How big a job is it?
It doesn't match Carlo Ancelotti and what he has historically done with his coaching career. I think it's been said many times that here's a guy that usually comes into a place with a ready-made team. He adds a couple of pieces, and then we're talking about dominating a league, winning titles, winning things. This is a different project altogether. And it doesn't really match Carlo Ancelotti in terms of his personality. You don't think of Carlo Ancelotti as a fiery, sort of high-stress sort of manager that is jumping around in the technical area. A lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, a lot of know-how, a great manager of talent. But in this particular case with Everton, it's not so much about managing the talent, it's about maximizing the very best of whatever you have available, and doing so with a high energy attitude, with intensity, with urgency. The two things don't seem to quite match up. And it's a big job for Carlo Ancelotti in understanding what the reality of the club is, what the reality of the player personnel is, and what his own reality is, and putting all those three things together and make sure that that translates into results out on the field.
I want to take a look at the league table right now. A kind of two-part question for you. What is a good season for them, given where they are now, which is 15th, and they're only 4 points above the team in third bottom? And for Ancelotti going forward, what should be his target as manager of Everton?
Right now, mid-table is really what you can shoot for, realistically and optimistically. See, you don't get to be 15th in the table by accident.
True.
We are where we are late December, and this team has had ample opportunity to get themselves out of the situation, and yet they keep reverting back to having poor performances. And
18 games as well.
Yeah, correct. So it's you have in Duncan Ferguson, he comes in and gives you all those things that I just spoke about: urgency and attitude and energy, and the stadium loves it. And Goodison Park it's jumping, and this is the Everton that we want to see. And now he's been told, this has been great, awesome, fantastic, but we're going to bring in this guy. I feel like Ancelotti has to hit the ground running and has to be able to generate some sort of excitement that doesn't quite come natural to him. He can't just sit there in the technical area and just chew that gum to death. There has to be a connection with a fan base that maybe he's not making, but that the attitude of his players and the effort of his players and the energy of his players get the people in the stadium excited and believing that getting results with consistency at Everton is possible. That in itself, I think, is going to be a challenge, because this is a club right now that they are hopeful and with some sort of expectation that is not based on results. If you look at the team play, and you look at the results, and you look at the players that are available, this is not a team that you say, well, they should be near the top four. No, that's not quite the case. And so you have to be pragmatic and yet energetic. You have to be efficient and effective, which you haven't been. Ancelotti will come in and will be expected to provide that right away. And by the way, you also mentioned the salary aspect of it. That also comes with an expectation.
It does, yeah.
And so right away, just because Ancelotti is standing on the technical area doesn't mean that you have a better striker out of front. That doesn't mean that you have a better defender in the back line. Doesn't mean that you have better players in the midfield. So people have to be careful as to what they truly expect from Everton. And I think mid-table this year would be as good as they can hope for.
Which players that he has in his new squad do you think will be most excited they have a new manager?
For the first time this year, under Duncan Ferguson, you saw the players at Everton, whether it was because they wanted to be, and Marco Silva was no longer there, and so they felt a different environment and a different feeling and things about them in the locker room that you saw that energy out on the field with Duncan Ferguson. Well, now, okay, that energy is gone, and so here comes Ancelotti, which is a far more sort of polished manager, if you will. So, okay, now it's about quality. And so you have to think, okay, where's the quality going to come from? Is it Sigurdsson that is going to provide that out of the midfield? You need a quality striker. Is that quality striker Richarlison? because then you need him to score goals. But then he throws himself into wide areas. So does that mean that he's not really your number 9? Is it Carlo Lewin? And if it's Lewin, then what, are you thinking that he's truly the answer for you? This is what I mean, that Ancelotti may be this big manager, but the players that you have available are what they are. And so how much better can they be, and how much better individually can they get? You know, I think by now what you're going to get from those guys that I just mentioned. Is that world class? Is that world beater talent? I don't think so. And so, again, the expectations for a club and a manager should also match what you have available out on the field. And I don't think right now those things are the same.
Well, he's one of the best managers in the world. He's achieved a lot. He improves players, but there's a lot of players at Everton need improving.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.